And I told a group of producers, it was one girl in the room, and it was two girls actually, and I told the men, whatever y'all are doing is you're bobbing to your own beat. If they don't bob to it, trash. The women make the world move. They know sonically what is great, what moves them, because as men in music, we follow the women. We won't say that, but a lot of men, like, they're not going to the club and start dancing first. It's if they see their girlfriend, then they're going to react. But I feel like the women producers are really going to take over. I feel like because women understand sound and understand the movement of another woman and what the world needs to hear. They understand. They even understand kids, because a woman is a mother by nature, and I just feel like we're going to see more women. I know they say 7%, but I feel like women should never give up, because the same advice go for women, go for men. I mean, it take a lot of men just as long to get in the business just as a woman. So I think it's just all about perseverance and just breaking down those barriers.
So, first of all, it's like a two-parter. The first thing is just a statement. That clip of you online with Jay, the dirt off the shoulders.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite moments ever.
Why?
I don't know. I just love the album, but like that moment with the two of you, when he was like surprised when you dropped the beat, it was.
I was just curious to see like what moved you from that.
I mean, honestly, just it's a very human moment for him, because to see Jay like surprised by something was really cool. The second thing was, as technology and everything advances, I would imagine it's easier to be a producer now than it was back then.
It's easier, but like everything in life has a pro and a con.
I was gonna say,
do you
think it's a good thing?
It's good if you're good. Now, machines, if you notice, like I'm gonna kind of go off topic, like if you go to like customs, there are machines running. Before, it used to be humans. I mean, it's still humans at the customs, but my point, what I'm trying to make is technology is just growing, and nothing beats the human touch if you're great, but you have to be aware that artificial intelligence is around the corner. So there will be because I have a friend that's developing a program where when the computer is asleep, it constantly makes sounds. And I thought that was incredible. How does a computer make sound if you cut it off? So he was explaining the algorithms and all these other things that I didn't know. So it made me think that one day I heard they're already making where like Ableton, if you program on Ableton, it starts to study how you think. So that's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because a machine can produce more than if you're good, you can keep up. But nobody's going to, nothing beats the human touch. But it all goes on to me is your work ethic, and how I feel like just because technology is moving forward, that don't mean that you stop. You still keep going, because your mind is still, making new things. And some people might get discouraged because, especially with trap music, everybody do the same thing. Now people have to be willing to change, and that's what I tell people. Don't be afraid to step outside the box. And I feel like as producers now, I always hear, oh, everybody sound the same. No, if you step outside the box, everybody have the same program, everybody have the same dial, but you can do something different with yours. But I think, as humans, I think we get accustomed to one thing and we just keep repeating that one thing. So for me, I'm not afraid of technology. I embrace it, because this is what I always wanted when I was a kid. I always wanted more technology so I can do things more easier. And now that I have it, it's a blessing.
Thanks.
Hi, Timbaland. I'm Alberto from Brazil. In Brazil, we have a slang that says that someone who gets succeeded is an excellence, is not generalist, neither specialist. And you are famous to be a guy that do a lot of things simultaneously and do a lot of things well. My question is, what's your advice, or what kind of competence do you think that someone should have nowadays to get succeeded independently the work? What do you think that is most important for someone to get succeeded nowadays?
You know, it's really just one thing: never give up. No matter what is in front of you, you always have to pick yourself up and try again. Just like I made that song with Aaliyah, dust yourself off and try again. I think that song means more to the world now than it ever has. Because a lot of people, how do I do this? How do I get back up? I can't tell you to get back up or how to get back up. Just, I try to share my stories on my IGTV, especially with my transformation of weight loss. I mean, to be at my age in 40s, you know, you'd be like, wow, that's like, I'm not giving up. So that's the only thing that I could tell somebody that's doing anything with music. It goes for anything. Don't give up. No matter what is in front of you, you're gonna get stumbling blocks. But can you get over those stumbling blocks? That determines who you are as a person. Can you persevere? Do you have sheer will? Do you really love what you're doing? So if a thorn gets thrown at you, do you walk away or do you stay on course? You know, for me, I tell a person, really have a strong mind and stay on course. And it will happen. Might not happen to the way you want it to happen, but something will happen.
We have time for one more question.
Hey Timbaland, thank you for everything that you've done.
Thank you.
My name is Raj Katecha from Dubai. I want to ask you a question. When I first started seeing a lot of A-listers coming onto Masterclass through the Facebook ads, I thought, okay, this is starting to feel like they've got the best of the best. But when I started seeing people from the culture as a hip-hop kid, like Spike Lee and yourself coming in, I was like, hang on a second. Within hip-hop, there's this larger paradigm of becoming independent. Has Timbaland and Spike Lee basically signed up with the universal records of online education, especially when there's so much happening in that space with Udemy and other platforms? Could you both speak on the business model, how the deals are done, how the payouts are done? Because I'm really curious as a content producer, what the back-end metrics and numbers are. Is it a case of just getting as many users as you can by having big names on there and then selling the company, or is there some upside for creators like Timbaland along the way?
Yeah, I will take a shot at it and then
Thank you, because I'm on his side.
What?
I'm just curious because how long before hip hoppers then create their own mastermind platforms? That's what I'm asking. Sorry.
I mean, you know, like I say this, I'm gonna let him take over. I just ask, like Dave is a good friend of mine. I'm always asked, we both ask each other questions because we're in the millennial. So a lot of questions that you're asking me, we still have some answers to it too. But I believe Dave have more than what I have.
I mean, you know, I tried to launch this probably about 5 years ago, and at first I don't come from this world, so it's like, hey, am I actually going to be able to get the best in the world to actually teach? And I mean, everybody I talked to said no way, it's going to be impossible, right? And for people who have achieved that level of that top bar of mastery, it isn't about the money. There wasn't an amount of money to offer these folks to make them do it. What all these folks had to really believe on the inside is that I want to teach, that I want to share everything that I have learned. And I think the one thing I learned from work with all these folks is that there was somebody in their life that changed it for them. There was somebody who was a mentor, who was a teacher, and every single one of our the instructors want to share that back. And so it's not about the money. It isn't about how much they're going to earn or what the upside is. It's how many people am I able to get to really love this class. And so inside the company, the question that we always ask everybody who takes our classes is how you liked it. Is it something that you thought that you learned a lot? Is it something that changed you? And the stat that I'm most proud of is that 1/4 of the students that take our classes say that class changed their life. Which is a stat, I don't think there's any school in the world that ever thinks like that, but for me, that's the type of impact I want to have. And I think if we can make it that anybody has access to learn from the best in the world, and isn't just a small few, I think the world is a much better place. Yeah.
That's all we have time for. Thank you very much. Thank you, David. Thank you, Timbaland.
Thank you.
Yeah, just wait for him.
Yeah, just a quick question. Oh yeah, just a quick question. Okay, this is Timbaland. Everyone probably knows it. I know you got served and some other drop and that. But one of the things that I want to talk to you about is the weight loss. You mentioned that, the health component. Yes. John Singleton, unfortunately, we lost him really early. What are your comments on that as it relates to health and putting that first?
I think we kind of ignore the little things in life, like eyesight, back aches. When you get older, we just ignore that. So always when I got as I got older, I'm like, I started seeing other people and I'm like, we're not taking care of ourselves. So let me be the first to really show it and show everything. And really it's really stripping down yourself and being just completely free.
Yeah.
And health to me is major because we getting older. They're making organic bananas. Yeah. Not real bananas, so we have to be very mindful of these things, that this is the future, and people think it's great, but it's not so great, and I feel like we have to be on point with our health, our blood pressure, everything is important, because that is the number one killer, and I think in the African American, strokes, diabetes, all those things. So, and as you're a kid, you sit on the couch, you're thinking about it. So I'm just really more conscious, and I stay on it. And when God calls you, He calls you, but you can at least be aware, going forward, and really educate our people. Like I know we quick to have a cookout. But I'm like, hold on, we got to watch what we eat at this cookout. You know what I'm saying? Cholesterol levels is real.
High blood pressure,
you know
all
what I'm saying?
that
That's
salt, yeah.
And then people be like passed out and don't understand why. And then they want to complain and say this, but it starts from you first.
Right. Timbaland, blood pressure, health. He's a living example of what we can do. It's important. Oh, ma'am.
Thank you. Gary. Yes, sir.
Oh, his name is Gary. Okay. Did you get? Yeah. Oh God. I know.